Good afternoon and welcome to this Sunday Sports Train. And as we said before, this train will be traveling right through this Trinidad Island state, bringing you all the reviews, the interviews, and all the sporting activities that is around the country. And as we said before, there are two engineers beside the backup staff which we have at studio this time, and I am one of the engineers. The other one is my co-host and friend, Riza Abasali. Riza, tell us more about you.
Well, thank you very much, Astel. We are back here on the train, our second edition of Sports Train, which started last week, Sunday. Of course, we have all these great features, great moments in West Indian cricket, rising stars, Astel. And, you know, I just want to say that this train took many stops before it of course, met. We in Digo Martin. We were carrying through at Tragarit Road, Maraval. The train has stopped here, and we must thank all, of course, who are concerned with giving us this opportunity.
Very much so, Riza, and I mean our sponsors, these people who have showed support and showed the confidence that they have in us and the program itself.
Excellent. That's Blazer Sports Bar and Docks Engineering Works. Thank you very much for having the confidence in us. But still, before we get into the program of World Cup football again and our features, and we have Candice Scott, former Olympian. We have Jordan Mohammed, UTT Patriots captain. This World Cup, I mean, arguably the best ever World Cup. And there's this debate, you could see what's happening in Argentina right now. Millions of people on the streets of Argentina celebrating with Lionel Messi. I want to ask you this debate that is happening and going on. The GOAT, G-O-A-T of all times. Would you consider Messi as a GOAT?
He is a GOAT, but he is a GOAT for this present time. This modern era, because there's nobody as good as him. But when you go back into history and you look at the beginning of the game, this beautiful game, and you look at some of the personalities and some of the men who have graced the football field, then I believe the GOAT of all times is a man called Pelé. I mean, and many sports writers, there were many for and against discussions on it. Who is the GOAT of all times? And they say because Pelé won it 3 World Cups. Messi won, and Pelé won his first World Cup at the age of 17 plus, I believe so. So I think there is merit in the argument, there is merit in the discussion, but when you look at it, I think the Brazilian Pelé, he's the man who will walk away with the GOAT of all times, and right behind him is a fella from Argentina too, Diego Maradona.
You know Maradona. Well, in fact, Messi was not born yet when Maradona won the World Cup in 1986. Isn't that amazing?
Amazing. I mean, I read about that, and
yes.
I mean, and Messi himself was a small child, as a small boy growing up, and people had concerns that this boy, he may not develop into a proper footballer.
Yes.
And his history, because there's so much history about Lionel Messi. I mean, but the GOAT of all times, I believe, is the fella from Brazil called Pelé. Yes. And he isn't doing too well. I mean, he has his struggles with his illness, but he's hanging in there.
One more item before we start the gist of our program. The West Indies have announced an interim coach, Astel, to take over from Phil Simmons, who of course resigned after the T20 World Cup. I mean, he went through the 2-test series against Australia. We were beaten badly in that series.
Correct, yes.
64 runs, and the second test by 419 runs. Mm-hmm. The man's name is Andre Coley, who assisted outgoing coach Phil Simmons during the 2016 ICC Men's T20 World Cup. Coley will take over for the Zimbabwe tour and the South African tour. Okay. Before the West Indies find a permanent coach. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, it's a good move, but like I said before, this move should have been done before the Australian 2-test series. They should have brought Team Coley at that time to let him test the waters or wet his feet or whatever you call it. Let Coley do it during that series. Not now. I mean, is he an Australian? I believe he's an Australian also. Is he?
Coley?
Yeah.
No, he's Jamaican.
Oh, Andre Coley.
Yeah.
Oh, but to me, well, I mean, I had it on mixed up.
Yes.
So I believe they should have allowed him to be the interim coach for that 2-test series, Riza.
And here, what is happening also? Well, Simmons' support staff was Roddy Eswick and the guy from India. What's his name again?
Desai?
Desai.
Yeah.
They are moving out as their contract are expiring. Their contracts are expiring just as Simmons. So we're looking possibly, or not possibly, new staff to accompany or accommodate Mr. Cody. New staff.
Well, I mean, that is understandable. I mean, and that is required because once there is a changing of the guard, then the whole staff, then the man who is coming in, he brings in his people because he wants to do it his way, and because all the responsibilities will fall on his shoulders and the buck stop at his door.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So that's just, of course, a précis at the top. So we have something coming up here with our present national football coach, Mr. Angus Eve. What do we have in store with Angus today, Astel?
Well, seeing that the recently concluded World Cup had so much excitement, and so much drama, and we heard little from the national senior team men's coach Angus Eve. We decided, well, to go and check him out and hear and get his thoughts, his ideas, and what he's doing, what he thought about the World Cup, and what he's doing to bring our team up to that level. Because you know we qualified once for the 2006 World Cup in Germany, and we could do it again, but it will take a lot of work, and Angus Eve knows that. So this is what Eve had to say during his interview. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Angus, for speaking with you at this time, and season greetings to you and yours.
Same to you, Arsene, and your.
Okay then. So Angus, let's talk a little about the recently concluded FIFA World Cup in Qatar. I mean, everyone were at the edge of their seats, and we wanted to get the views and the impressions of Angus Eve, our current national football senior coach. I mean, so Angus, what are your impressions?
I thought that the World Cup, from an organizational standpoint, was really good. From a logistical standpoint, literally, you were in one city. It's the first time that has ever happened, and it was easy for the supporters to get around, and you know, it seems to be a sort of village type event where everybody was just there from an organizational standpoint, and from a footballing standpoint. I think for me, is one of the more exciting World Cups that we had for a long time, and also it culminated in the type of final that we saw, and even the African team, Morocco and teams have done better than they have done in previous World Cups before. So all in all, you know, I thought the tournament was a huge success.
I know that you have an eye for the technical issues because you being national coach and being a former national player. What you thought about the on the field play? I mean, when it comes to the technical and the planning by the coaches, you saw something new or new things being implemented, or you saw things which the coaches strive for?
Yeah, I think we saw that teams playing this mid-block. A lot of the teams play this mid-block. It's not a low block where you defend on top of the 18-yard line or a high press like we used to see from the Spanish and from the Germans years gone by. This new mid-block that teams are defending in the middle third, just over the half line, and trying to break forward with a lot of pace, going forward, a lot of skill, a lot of pace, and being really direct. And that style that is now being prevalently used in that World Cup, you see that you don't need much possession. Those teams concede possession a lot, and they play very counter-attacking style of game. And it bore a lot of success throughout the tournament for teams like Argentina. You saw France doing it and leaving Mbappe and Giroud up front alone. You saw the Dutch and a number of teams employ. The most famous one that we would look at would be Morocco because of where they came from and what they were able to achieve in doing and in playing that type of style. So I would say that that is the evolution, because you saw the total football of the Dutch didn't work. The Spanish style, the efficiency of the Germans, the tiki-taka of the Spanish, the efficiency of the Germans, and the flair of the Brazilians. All of those four styles did not work this World Cup, and you saw that this functional style, this low block, low press, and very high octane attack is what worked.
Angus, you hinted a while ago on Morocco, but they had some teams such as Morocco. You had the Korean Republic and Tunisia. They playing exceedingly well. What you thought were the secret, or what were their driving force?
The secret to those teams are that they were very well prepared, one. And in times gone by, what you would have was teams from those countries not having players. They're in awe. They're playing against their heroes. So for Morocco, for example, a number of these players playing in big teams, all over the world. Bono, the goalkeeper, is playing in Spain. So he wasn't intimidated when they met Spain. And in the penalty shootout, he probably saved penalties against a number of the Spanish players that he would have played against in this World Cup, playing in the Spanish league, which he is. Tunisia is the same thing. The players, I tell people, forget the name of teams now and just look at the players that are on the park. Football is truly now a universal game. So you have teams from lesser known countries now plying their trade in bigger territories. And for instance, when we qualified for the World Cup, you had Dwight and these guys who were playing in England, and Russell who was playing in Scotland, and Carlos Edwards and all, and Kenwyn Jones and all these guys who were playing in top leagues all around the world. And that is the difference. The players, when they play in these top leagues, they do not now have the aura that they're playing against Messi. They're playing against a guy who they would have played throughout the season against.
Angus, I like that. I like what you're saying, because let's bring it back home a little. I mean, how much you think that the World Cup will inspire you to really get a hold on local players, to make them understand that they are as good as anybody is, and they are and they can strive to reach such great heights.
The difficulty there is simple. We don't have a functional league here. If I quote the Moroccans, it had an article that I read, because I follow up everything on the football as much as possible. And the Moroccans read that a lot of territories focus on boardroom stuff, corruption, and politicking. And they were able to focus on the football development. That's the same problem that we have here. We have a lot of boardroom champions, but we don't have on the field champions. We haven't had football for a couple of seasons. That is not just the normalization committee's fault, because the normalization committee is not putting themselves in court every other week, defending themselves against a number of different people who insisted on keeping the football down for their own means and for power. And I believe that if we come together and we put aside all this power and we work with the normalization committee, or whoever it would have been at the time, we have to say the normalization committee because they are there right now. And it doesn't matter if it was another president, we have to come together and make sure that the football is in good hands. Because I would suggest to you, Ansel, that more than 50% of the sport playing people in Trinidad plays football. And the other sport are divided in the other percentage evenly across the board. So, if football is the most important game that we have, then why don't we pay the correct attention to the game?
Do you think from after yesterday's football, after what we have witnessed, you think more kids will be excited, and will have that impetus to want to play this beautiful game that they call football?
As I said before, 50% of our sporting community already plays the sport. So the enthusiasm is always there for football. If you pass by King George V Park or Nelson Mandela Park, it's named now, and you pass there in any afternoon, you'll see the amount of sweat that is happening. We call them sweat, as you know, that happens if you go around the Queen's Park Savannah. You see the same thing. So the enthusiasm is there. I think we tend to focus more in Trinidad on building buildings as opposed to investing in the people, because per capita we already have 5 stadiums and we keep building more stadiums. I think they now refurbish Skinner Park, and they build a new stadium down in Diego Martin. and these stadiums cost over 200 and how much million TT dollars. But the subvention for the Pro League has been $3.5 million. So look at the disparity in putting into young people as opposed to building structures. Who is going to be in the structures to play?
Uncle Steve, thank you so much, and I wish you and your family all the best. Have a great Christmas season, and we wish you all great prosperity, and we wish that the football team will prosper under you come 2023 and beyond. And we will be there in Mexico and in Canada and the USA come 2026.
Thanks, my brother, and all the best to you and your viewers, and may God blessings rain upon all of you.
Thank you so much.
Right, so that was Angus C. Most capped player for Trinidad and Tobago, 117 caps. Still between 1994 and 2005.
Yeah, I mean, he just eclipsed Stern John, who is our highest goal, who scored the most goals for this country.
Yes.
But Angus Eve is a very determined man. I just love to speak to this man. I love his attitude. He is an eternal optimist.
Yes, well, we have now stored up here a video on Lionel Messi. Of course, Astel and I were speaking about whether he's the greatest of all time. Well, Lionel Messi is about 35, 36, and it could be his last World Cup.
Well,
no doubt about it. But, you know, what do we know about Messi?
Well, actually, boy, let me tell you something. I was reading recently, or saw a video of the Argentine coach, and he was saying that the next World Cup, Messi will be about 39, 39, and he said he's leaving it open. Messi will decide what he wants to do, if he wants to come with the team or he wants to stay away from the team and call this World Cup his last. But he is leaving it up to Messi. If Messi wants to travel again with the team to the next World Cup, he has no objection, because this man is a genius, and he is just brilliant. He is one of a kind, and you have to treat one like that with great respect.
Started playing football at the age of 4, and according to my notes here, still, he was diagnosed with growth hormone deficiency at the age of 10. An imbalance that stunts his growth.
Oh yes, correct.
Yes.
And I mean, and that is where I read also, and I stand to be corrected, that his parents couldn't afford to pay for that, and that made him the journey to Argentina or something like that. So to really, and Barcelona decided that they're gonna pay for it, and he will play for them, and it was a decision, a gamble that paid off magnificently for both sides, both Messi and Barcelona, because he became a Barcelona man.
Yes. So let's have a look at this video on Lionel Messi.
I've spent the last year and a half of my life writing the stories of the greatest football players we have ever witnessed. And trust me when I say, it's hard to put into words how mind-bending their achievements were. At times 15 minutes isn't enough, sometimes not even close. With Lionel Messi, that's exactly what happened. It's impossible to capture the magnitude of his career in any sort of media. You had to be there. You had to rise up from your couch every time he did the impossible. You had to scream out his name at every perfectly timed shot from outside the box. You had to be there when it started, right? To this very moment where you stared at the highlights of his career and begged the football gods for it not to end. For one more body feint, maybe 3 or 4 in a shape over the goalkeeper at the end. One last celebration, one more time where you can look at your friends' faces who are just as euphoric as you and say, for one final time, wow, it's from another world. As we approach that final moment, it's time I try my best at telling you how one becomes a footballing god, how one becomes Lionel Messi. The day was the 24th of June 1987 in Rosario, one of the biggest cities in Argentina, and a baby was born. His roots expanded far across the Atlantic Ocean from both sides of his family and Italian ancestors who arrived in Argentina following World War II. Italy was left in a state of chaos. Life was getting harder every day, and in Argentina, foreigners were not only welcomed, they were in great demand thanks to a shortage of labor. So they sailed off, hoping to forget the horrors of war and move on. But the Italians, though they made up a great part of this exodus, weren't the only ones. Messi's great-grandmother from his father's side, came from another place in Europe, Catalonia. As she left it all behind, she could have never known that one day her grandson would be the region's biggest symbol, the new ruler of Barcelona. Growing up in a country like Argentina back in the late 80s, you'd pretty much be peer pressured into loving football. They were living the grand old days back then. Maradona was still going strong. Actually, the year Messi was born just happened to be Maradona's highest goal-scoring season ever. To add assault to injury in a good way, Messi's family happened to be filled with football fans. As long as he was around the other kids in his family, he pretty much had to play, and he was always among them, being the youngest of 3 brothers who all pursued football at some point. And they weren't even the only ones. 2 of his cousins would become professional footballers as well. His younger cousin, Emmanuel, even went on to play in the Bundesliga at one point. At 4 years of age, Messi was playing football by himself at a pitch near his house, where Grandoli, a small club in his town, had their training sessions. Messi was repeatedly kicking a ball into a wall when the club's president, Salvador Aparicio, walked by frantically. You see, the youth team had a match to play very soon and there weren't enough kids, so Salvador went up to Messi and told him to go ask his mom if he could play. At first, it didn't go as planned. Messi's mom would say, No, he's no good at football and anyways he's too small. Thankfully his grandma was there and she wasted no time saying, Come on, let him play, it won't do him any harm. This moment changed Messi's life forever. Had his grandma not been there, he probably would have not joined the team, and had his mom not worried so much, the president wouldn't have said the following words. Don't worry, I'll play him in the right wing, so he'll be by the stands near you, in case something goes wrong. Little did he know, he had just defined great part of Messi's career. When Leo started playing, everyone was in shock. He ran through the pitch as if the other kids weren't there. It almost seemed unfair how much better he was. When interviewed about how it was to watch him play back then, Salvador said, Believe me, he already did all the incredible things he does today. The only difference was that the ball came up to his knees. We worried about his size. He never seemed to grow much, but we all said the same thing. We got the next Maradona in our hands.
Well, that was a brilliant video by on Lionel Messi. It's from his youth days, just about when he was starting to play football at a very, very young age, Justin.
Exactly true. So we take a break now, and when we come back with more action from the sports train.
Rising Stars is next, and we have a very, very bright guy who's also a star athlete at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Jordan Mohammed. He's from Charleville, and Jordan is pursuing a degree in kinesiology, and that is a very interesting field that deals with movement of the body and how you deal with injuries and all that stuff. Now, Jordan is grateful to the following coaches: Pradeep Vishnu, Eugene Antoine, Prakash Sukai, and Anthony Gray. And that picture you see, he scored 100 in the East Zone cricket presentation function at Bamboo Government Primary School, and even 100 versus Brazil Progressive Club. What I like about this, Astel, is that these guys and all those people, youngsters at UTT and other colleges, they're mixing their sporting pursuits with academic excellence. And I'm an educator, and I would love that.
I know. I mean, that is right up your alley, and I believe I also share the view with those views with you that youngsters are not just supposed to be sportsmen, but they're supposed to at least be looking at the educational background too, because at the end of the day, they will need to really, as they say, to fall back onto something if they don't go all the way to the top to become a West Indian player and excel as Brian Lara and be likes of him. But I mean, I like how young people, young athletes who are ambitious and they have a drive, and Jordan seemed to be that type of athlete who is going after what he set his goals to.
And just of note, he's a left-arm Chinaman leg break googly bowler. Rare commodity.
Very rare indeed. Very rare indeed. The last person we had like that in this country was a fellow from Sani Grande. That is the left arm Chinaman googly bowler called Pus Achong. Yeah, that is easy.
Inchinali, for instance.
Yeah. Inchinali did it, but Inchan was much more guile. But this guy was, I mean, having Chinaman googlies unplayable at times.
Well, we also have stored just coming up a photo of star academic athletes as still, and from left to right, I just want to name them. Jonathan Farina, who's a track and field athlete, diploma in criminology. You have Rogel Torres, this is moving from left to right. You have Ian Prashad, who is the senior manager of sports and recreation at UTT. You have Nikolai Mills, basketball. Shania Morgan, netball, a senior netballer, of course, with the national team. Matthew Mutra, table tennis. And they are pursuing degrees of variations, kinesiology, aeronautical engineering, and mostly kineology, right? As I mentioned to you. And these athletes, their grade point average, it's over 3.5, the maximum being 4. So they are really stars in the making, balancing their academic studies with sporting excellence.
Excellent. Okay, excellent indeed. I mean, and so we have no doubt but to introduce this young man to our viewers on Sports Train. Here he is.
Okay, Sports Train fans, we have online 22-year-old Jordan Mohammed, who hails from Charleville in central Trinidad. He's a current captain of the University of TNT Patriots. Jordan, welcome to IETV's Rising Stars.
Thank you for having me.
Great, man. So tell us, what made you take up cricket out at early age, and some of the individuals who influenced you?
Well, at an early age, my father used to carry me to watch him play at the minor league level. So as a young kid growing up, I wanted to follow in my father's footsteps.
Yes.
So naturally, I entered the same minor league club and played alongside him for a few years.
Right.
So the first person responsible for my cricketing career is my father.
Excellent, excellent. You started off as a pace bowler, but you mentioned to me that Coach Pradeep Vishnu advised you to switch to left-arm Chinaman googly bowler. How has that transition been to you? Have you been successful?
Very successful, because most teams in the Caribbean and even outside internationally are looking for wrist spinners, someone who can make a great impact on the game. So a Chinaman bowler is something new in every team. So anytime I play, I'm a key factor.
Yeah, so you confuse a lot of these batsmen now.
Yeah, both in and out spin. So
good.
Because they can deliver.
You are pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology, specializing in sport pedagogy. Can you tell us about this field of sport and why did you choose it?
Well, pedagogy is the art of teaching. So I want to become a PE teacher / cricket coach. I want to be able to make an impact on future generations. I love to give advice and teach and help others. So naturally, I went towards teaching sports.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So tell me another key question. You're playing cricket almost full-time for UTT. you're studying. How do you balance the two?
That is a very good question because most students have problem with time management.
Yes.
And I believe time management is the key to success because the more time you get in a day, the more you can accomplish. So what I do is when I have assignments, I look to break it off into the harder assignments and smaller assignments. So I start the harder assignments first. I make a small goal to finish a small portion of that assignment. So say I'm doing a 5-page paper, I will do 1 or 2 pages first. And then after I finish with that, I will start my smaller assignment and complete that. But when I get a little time here and there, I will get ideas for my paper. And when I continue my paper now, my ideas will start to flow and make the paper easier for me to complete.
Well
But
said.
when I'm juggling sports and academia,
Yes.
what I do is I look at things that I do and waste time daily.
Right.
And I find spending time on social media is the biggest factor. I waste several hours a day on social media. So I cut down my hours, and that gives me a few more hours to work on practicing and training and also my academia.
Well said, well done. So as captain, you're a leader on and off the field. What are some of your leadership traits that make your captaincy work for you with your players?
Well, I like the captaincy style and leadership style of being democratic.
Yes.
So I bring in all my players' decision into it because I want all my players to have a part to play in winning. And also we are a developing team. So what I want to do is make my players great all around, both mentally and physically. So I want to encourage critical thinking also.
Wonderful. Yes, yes. Remind us of a few of your memorable cricket achievements.
I would say my first one will be a 73 runs I make for Central because it was a pressure situation. We were losing wickets quick, and that was my debut match for Central under 15. So that really sparked my cricketing career also.
Right.
Next one, well, my biggest one will be being a captain for UTT.
Yes.
And also making a century for UTT because I come off of some small scores and was under pressure. So that 100 really get me back motivated and driven.
Excellent. So we come into the end of the interview. What do you hope to achieve in the world of cricket?
My biggest goal is to play for West Indies and tour the world playing cricket for many franchises around the world. So also in cricket, I want to be a cricket coach, which I can give back my experience and help the future generations also become leaders in life.
Excellent, excellent, Jordan. And finally, what is your message to the young people, the young sportsmen of Trinidad and Tobago?
I would say this, that when you are lazy, it is disrespectful to those who believe in you.
Wow. Yes, and that's a fantastic, fantastic reminder. And finally, Brian Lara and Shane Warne, your two favorite cricketers. Tell us, why is it so?
Just because of the mentality and grit they have. The harder the situation is, it seems like the more focused and driven they are. They like to perform under pressure, and I find myself the same. I perform under pressure. So when I watch these two and see how they go about their cricketing careers, they are really fantastic to watch.
Great, man. Jordan, it has been a pleasure listening to you here on IETV Rising Stars. Thank you very much, and we'll keep in contact. All the best.
You're most welcome.
Great.
Well, welcome back to the Sports Train, and we were talking about, and you just saw the video with this young, exciting athlete called Jordan Mohammed. Riza, I mean, he's one of a kind. What do you think about this young man?
Oh yes, he's definitely one of a kind, and of course, I mean, all these colleges and universities who are now pursuing sports and academics. I mean, of course, you have a scholarship content in there, where they take their academic achievement and excel in sports. And this is a very good initiative by all our colleges and in Trinidad and Tobago. And I really congratulate this young man. As I mentioned, he's from Charleville, Central Trinidad. And he's one for the future, definitely one for the future.
Definitely, and you keep on pounding in our heads at Charleville, which I like also. I mean, tell people, I mean, there is talent throughout this country, from Toco to Maracas to wherever you go, there is talent. And I want to point out something to you. What these young people are doing is not something new, because when you look at our athletes, when they're motley,
yes,
right? When they're motley, a footballer called Naked, right? David Naked. All of these people and much more, every one of them, they went to university. And Wendell Motley became one of this country's finest finance minister. So you find that they are just walking into that pathway there, and they are carrying with them a long history of sportsmen who are well educated.
So he's based at San Fernando Technical Institute, and he's the captain of the University of Trinidad and Tobago Patriots.
Correct. Good young man. Oh, we take a break now, and when we come back, we continue with Sports Train, and you will hear from a young lady called Candace Scott. You will hear about her.
My name is Riza Abbasali.
My name is Astil Red. This is Sports Train. Get on board. Join us every Sunday afternoon for a 1 hour long live program on ITV, your station for real sports.
That's victory for the West Indies, and Sheldon Cottrell has done it.
And we have some interesting features, such as
Great moments in West Indian cricket. Rising stars.
Where Are They Now? Our former sporting icons. Sports Train on ITV. Don't miss it.
Welcome back, Sports Street fans. This is Sports Street on IETV. And again, we want to thank our sponsors, Blazers Sports Bar and Docks Engineering Works Limited. Well, last time we have now Where Are They Now? And we are featuring Olympian athlete Candace Scott, who, by the way, was the first woman in our nation's history to reach an Olympic final, the hammer throw at the Athens Olympic Games in 2004, where she threw at that time a personal best of 69.94 meters.
Exactly, and Candace will tell you that she was not a hammer thrower when she first started. She was a discus thrower, right, and a shot putter. But somehow or the other, she ended up doing the hammer throw. She will tell you how that happened, and she was our Sportswoman of the Year in 2003 and 2004. Yes. I believe that. So she has a lot of pedigree for a woman that came on the scene, and she did exceedingly well.
Let's have a look at Candace Scott.
She was this country's Sportswoman of the Year for 2 consecutive years, 2003 and 2004. Such a journey for Candace Scott started when she left these shores to attend the University of Florida as a shot putter and discus thrower. But the Laventille girl had a change of heart during the first semester.
When I got there, it was their indoor season. So for the indoors, they do indoor shot puts and the weight throw, right? And that is the indoor version of the outdoor hammer. So that's how I got started.
It was a discipline she enjoyed and was determined to make the best use of it, and at the same time take it all the way to the top. The Olympic Games was on her radar, but along the way Scott was hit with a personal tragedy.
I was competing at a national championships, outdoor championships, and I already had my ticket to go home because I knew he was sick. And when I went back to Florida, that was after the games finished, my sister called and told me that he passed away, and that was like the Friday, and I was supposed to go back on the Tuesday the following week. Right, so within all that happening, I didn't have really time to mourn and stuff like that because I was going to compete at the international games after. And it's when I went back to university to go to the indoors, that's when I broke down. And I ended up in counseling.
Scott survived with grit and determination and qualified for her first Olympic Games in Athens in 2004. And having arrived there, was not fazed by the quality of athletes assembled for the games.
But then when I got there, it was a whole different ball game because it's the best of the best, right? The top of the line, everybody. And that really didn't faze me too much at that point in time because the kind of mindset I had, I was ready.
Scott placed 9th among the finalists, to which she was not too disappointed for her effort, and also went on to represent the country 4 years later in Beijing, China, and also captured the Sportswoman of the Year award once again.
After working so hard to get the kind of recognition, you say, all right, yes, I was able to do this, and it was appreciated by, whoever was doing the nomination and everything like that, because I worked really hard. And now I had the little effects of it now, where I get it older. But I was really happy at that point in time when I got those awards.
After 2 consecutive games, and many years of wear and tear on the body, Candice Scott was forced to call time on her career.
It was not the easiest of decisions because of, my knees, problems, osteoarthritis, and the training and thing would have just made it a lot worse. So I had to say, okay, that's it. I love the sport, but the sport didn't love me anymore.
Scott's focus now was to put her university degree to work in recreational therapy, to which she's enjoying it.
If I help one person I'm real happy about that.
Candice Scott is a mother of 3 twins, Aidan and Christopher, and 1 girl, Tyler. She had some words of advice for aspiring athletes in any discipline.
Find a sport that you love to do. That's very important because you will want to do it. All right? And there are opportunities out there that you can take and make the best of.
What a captivating video on Candice Scott. Marcel, this is just amazing. I want to acknowledge also one of our mentors. I'm sure you know of him. That was Olympian 400-meter finalist Joseph Coombs.
Joseph Coombs, tremendous runner.
Who was the 1980 finalist in the Olympic 400 meters at Moscow. And Candice leaned on him for guidance and mentoring. I'm sure you would be very pleased with that.
Exceedingly, because we need these type of people to pass on their expertise and their experiences to the younger ones, and Candice Scott benefited from that, as you mentioned before, and it has to happen. It is a relay where we need to pass on the baton as the athletes change and as the era changes.
Well, just to give you a little resume on Candice's achievements still. I have here 2003 Pan Am Games in the Dominican Republic, 3rd in the hammer throw. 2005 Central American and Caribbean Championships in the Bahamas. She won gold in the hammer. And 2005 World Championships at Helsinki, Finland, 8th in the hammer throw. Fantastic achievement by this young lady. If we call her, she's still young, isn't she?
Well, yes, she's just 42 at this time. She called time on her career, as we saw in the video before, and she's still a young to be doing what she's doing, and she is she's excited about having gone through all of that, and at present she's motivating and passing on that experience to any athlete that will want to sit down, that would like to sit down and talk with her and find out exactly what made her click and what made her successful. I think Candice has an open door policy, and just give her a call.
Yes, let's now take a break and stay tuned to Sports Train on IETV. Welcome back to IETV Sports Train. Astel, the train is moving
exactly. I mean,
very fast.
This train is moving very fast, and as we said before, get on board, because there is so much things happening, so much excitement, so much drama, because it is sport, and the sporting landscape it's just shaking at this time as we go on to great moments in West Indies cricket, and we have no other person but to take you on that trip, on that journey, is Brian Charles Lara. He is the maestro. What do you think about that, Reza?
Astel, what we're going to see here is, a masterclass of batsmanship from BC Lara, the only man in international cricket to score 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 in international cricket. And as you people would know, he's in Australia, or was in Australia, in the commentary box and outside on the field. And he's here with, I think it's Howard. Howard is his name, or last name. And Howard is so, almost overwhelmed by Lara's ability and masterclass to show him how to bat properly. Back and across Astel. How to play the spinners. This is a fantastic video.
I played a little bit of cricket, and when I saw this master class, and I saw how easy Lara showed how this game supposed to also be called a beautiful game, because Lara made it so simple. And he's a thinker, because he knows where every fielder on the is positioned on the field of play. He knows exactly where he wants to hit the ball, his timing, and the man is really a master at top of the line. He is the ultimate.
This is he's batting left hand, as you could see in the video, would see in the video. The top hand is the strong hand, the power hand, and the left hand guides the ball.
Exactly. And I think youngsters who are looking at this video, this is the man that you want to emulate. This is the man you want things to rub off on you. Look at him and look at his class, because, and then too, he is a fighter. He tells the bowler where he wants you to put the ball, and he tells the fieldsman where he is going to put the ball. And he does that with such ease and such tremendous amount, and with a lot of power too, as you pointed out, how the hand works. One is a guide, and one is for power.
Well, let's have a look at the man in action. Originally from Cantaro Village in Santa Cruz, Brian Charles Lara.
If you loved your cricket, if you were playing yesterday, if you're 6, 10, 56, boy, girl, woman, man, you're about to get a treat, because the great man, Brian Charles Lara, is going to run us through batting. Are you ready to go, mate?
I'm ready.
Okay, so we've got about 10 minutes, so we're going to go through the full gamut. Firstly, what's your grip? Let's talk grip first. What are you doing with grip?
My grip has always been like a handshake.
A handshake?
Yeah, so if you hand me the bat.
Okay.
Here.
Simple.
Yeah. Very, very simple.
And you're a right-hander.
Yes.
but you bat left-handed. And what advantage does that give you?
I mean, when people ask me that question, I was like, I'm confused because my top hand is my power hand. My top hand controls the game. And it being right-handed, obviously, it's a benefit. So, again, here I am holding my bat in my top hand. My bottom hand is just there, just sort of guide the ball where I want to do it. This has nothing to do with power.
Right.
All the power comes from the top hand. If I want to go over the top, if I want to hit along the ground, and as I said, the bottom hand is just for guidance. If I want to take a ball and off stump and hit it through backward point, the left hand opens the face. If I want to hit it over the top, yes, it gives me that elevation to go over the top as well.
Well, how good's this? Brian taking us through it, and just already you can see the man, the way he uses the bat. So top hand is where your power comes from. I think we've got a clip of a back foot defensive stroke. It might be Craig McDermott or the like. So what is the key to, I think we're having a look at it now. So this is you against McDermott. Just short of a length, what are you doing back foot defence style, Brian?
First of all, I bat out my crease, right? And my trigger movement is back and across. I'm here, back and across. My left eye is now over the off stump. And from here, I can decide if I want to attack or want to defend. My mindset has always been to attack.
Yes.
Other than that, I got to play a defensive shot if it's a good ball. So I'm back and across. It's a good ball, and I'm over the top of the ball and getting my eyes on top of it, playing the ball underneath me as much as possible.
And what are you focusing on? I noticed you were talking about a batsman yesterday watching the ball the whole way. So the bowler's at the top of his run. What are you doing in setup?
Yeah, I'm set up and I'm looking at...
Easy, Brian. He's giving me a little whack with a kookaburra. I got too close.
I'm looking at the ball in the bowler's hand running right into me. And as I said, my first movement, my trigger movement is back and across, which puts my left eye, which is my dominant eye, over the off stump. And from here, I'm picking up the line, the trajectory, where the ball is going to be pitched, and then deciding on what shot I want to play.
Okay, so you've now got a bit of width through the offside. You're looking at...
Move.
I'm going to move. Indeed, move. How much... Gilly tells a great story about positions being moved in the field, and you say, oh, they've moved that to the wrong position, then hitting it through the gap. So you had an uncanny ability to hit the ball through gaps. How did you manage that? Were you so aware of the field, or was that just skill?
I think it came from when I was very young. I used to play cricket in the garage. I would have my plant pots, my mum's plant pots. I'd place them as fielders. I'll throw the ball if I'm playing by myself against the wall, and I'll be hitting shots through the gaps. And I felt that when I started my career, I started playing 25 one-days before I played my second test match.
Okay.
So I started to learn to score runs, and I felt that whenever I was playing an attacking shot, I wanted to get something for it. It could not be a cover drive straight to cover or straight drive straight to mid-off. I wanted to find a gap, and that brings that bottom hand into play, where I sort of just manipulate the face of the bat into the gaps.
So we just saw some vision there of you off the back foot, driving through the exquisite, beautiful shot with that big flourish. So it's just short of a length, and you're looking to put it through the offside. What are we doing?
What we're doing, again, I have this picture in my mind of where everybody is. I know where the fine leg is, mid-off, backward point, the 3-6 gully, there's a gap there, and I'm looking to score runs if it's a ball that I want to attack. So again, I'm getting on top of it, and there's a big gap between cover and mid-off, and I'm sort of pushing it through the gap. Again, the bottom hand is key. That is for directing the ball. The power is here, the direction is from the bottom hand. And as I said to you, if it's a bad ball and if it's an attacking shot, I want to get value for it.
We call you in Australia a bums on seat style operator, Brian, because people would come and sit in the seat and watch you bat, and it was often to do with that flourish in your backswing. Was that something, can you just play a typical cover drive and just watch Brian's flourish when he gets to the top of the arc?
Here we go.
Oh, there's that big flourish that BC Lara was famous for. Did you always have that flourish? Because that's why you were so beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I think it sort of gave me that momentum with the bowler. Back in the day, you're facing a lot of fast bowlers. I wasn't a very big guy, and I felt that I needed that trigger movement. So if it's Malcolm Marshall, Joel Garner,
stepping back again.
I'm here. And it just stuck with me. And happily for me, no one actually talked about it, especially my coaches. Maybe a lot of critics talk about, oh, he's not going to get his bat down in time. But I had pretty quick hands, and I got it back down in time. And as I said, I've sort of enjoyed doing that. Sometimes, if I was to go wrong, I'll take the bat out here, which is not, you don't want to do that. If I was in good form, I'll take it up here. My hands would still be close to my chest. And that means that if it's out here, it's going to come from gully. And as you saw maybe from the right-hand version of the silver,
Yes.
playing across the line of the ball, I didn't want to do that. If I was doing that, I was in trouble.
Leg side, where it's just short of a length, and again, that flourish is in there, that knee comes up, so you're just getting a short of a length ball on middle and leg, and you're going horizontal bat. What are we doing?
Well, first of all, I'm going to use my crease. So the trajectory I pick it up is going to be short. So from my trigger movement, I go further back and sort of get my hands in to get into that, either the whip up the hip, the pull shot, or the hook shot. So again, aggression being the name of the game for me, I want to pounce on everything that I could pounce on. And yeah, the short ball was something that I utilize a lot.
Welcome back to Sports Train here on IETV on this beautiful Sunday evening, Astel. And we're about to wrap up, but I mean, again, after looking at that video, I think, Astel, you may want to get back into international cricket yourself.
Well, I need it. I mean, I need to go back in the gym first. I need to get my eyes and my feet going, and at least to coordinate myself, because I played a little bit of cricket, not much, but I mean, as you said, I need it. That is, it just excited. I got excited about it, and I want to go on at least to play some local cricket. I mean, some fun cricket. Some fet matches, you know, some fet matches, not test matches, but fet matches. That is where you just go and enjoy yourself. I mean, what a video we saw there, and what a tremendous, and no other but Brian Charles Lara. I mean, I thought Lara, I thought when he scored all these runs, it came from natural ability, but Lara knew exactly what he was doing, when he was doing it, and he is the type of player that you want to pick his brains. I think players, batsmen should have a talk with him sometimes. Make an appointment, you know. It will take a while because he travels a lot. He travels around the world, but try to pin him down and try to pick his brains. And once you do that, you will be able to be a better player, a better batsman, and a better athlete indeed.
Yes. Where does Lara stands in the pantheon of the world's best and test batsmen? 11,953 runs, an average of 52.88, and the most test centuries by a West Indian in test cricket, 34.
Oh, I mean, that is a tremendous feat indeed. I mean, Brian Charles Lara, a little guy from Cantaro. And the message which is being sent here is that if Lara could do it, you, youngster, can do it also. I mean, you being an educator, you must expand on that for us.
Yes. I mean, records are yet to be broken. I mean, cricket, athletic, or whatever, world record you've seen, both, whatever. But the fact is, we need to have that balance between our sporting pursuits and academic excellence. Because, Astel, something happens, God forbid, to an athlete, an injury, a life-threatening injury. What would they fall on? They will have to fall back on your education.
Exactly, it's true. And then I mean, and once you have something to fall back on, then you can impart the knowledge which you have gained on the sporting field to the youngsters, because there are so many athletes that come through, and so many of them did not make it all the way to the top.
Correct.
But they make a comfortable living of what they have qualified to do. I mean, qualified in terms of academically. Huh?
All right, so that's the wrap for our show here today. I hope you have enjoyed it. Just to mention our sponsors again: Blazer Sports Bar right there in Chagarit Road in Port of Spain, Docks Engineering Works Limited.
Yes, sirree. Those two sponsors, we are ever grateful to you. And stay tuned to Sports Train. We come next week Sunday with another exciting program. Riza, take us home.
Well, I'm Riza Basali.
And I'm Astil Ren on the Sports Train.
Get on board. See you next time.